gonna get her? You don't understand. That's the biggest ick for me is seeing your boyfriend's pickup lines with other girls. Like,
yeah.
No.
You almost want to tell them off, and you're like, I can't even look at you.
No game.
I can't even look at you. I don't know who you are. I don't know why I'm dating you. Like,
ew, how did you even get me? You got me with that game? Yeah. What are you, crazy?
I'm gonna have to reevaluate this entire relationship.
Oh my god. I settled for you?
Chemical X.
What is up, guys, and welcome back to the Chemical X podcast. I'm your girl, Alessia.
I'm your girl, Veronica. And as usual, guys, if you haven't already, like, comment, subscribe, comment down below. Oh my god, I forgot my script. And also leave us 5 stars on all our audio platforms. And not only that, guys, but we have merch now. So if you don't know, now you know. We have merch, chemicalxpodcast.com. Get yourself a trucker cap, a baseball cap for the summer. They're super cute and, you know, they go with everything. So check it out. Love ya. See ya.
They go with everything. Why aren't you wearing one?
100%. I mean, honestly, one would go with my outfit right now. So don't speak too soon.
So I thought that today we needed a drink. Okay? Martinis. We've never done dirty martinis on the podcast. So
cheers.
This is new. Cheers.
Extra olives always.
Extra dirty always.
Do you want to talk about your new Instagram bio?
I mean, I guess now we have no choice.
Tell everybody. Tell the crowd what it is. Well, actually, you know what? Alessia texted me the other day and she's like, what do you think of this as an Instagram bio? And it's like, as a friend, I need to look out for my girls, right? I need to make sure that the decisions they're making on the World Wide Web are ones that, you know, everyone will see nicely. And I said, look, I think it's cute. I think it's a little bit weird. So do you want to just explain to them what your caption is, your bio?
Okay, so let me just explain that my bio used to always be, I think for like 20 years, okay? No, a solid like 12 years. My Insta bio has always been...
12 years?
Yeah,
how long have you had?
16 plus 12. How old am I? It's about...
Should.
Fuck!
Wait, no. That would make you like 30. Wait. 26? That would make you 28.
And I'm 27, Veronica. But I know.
Wait, 10 years? I've had it. Anyways, you know what? Let's get by this giving me anxiety.
So my Insta bio has always been
12 years.
Veronica, fuck off. What are you, still 24?
26. Why does 10 sound better than 11?
100%.
100% it does.
Yeah. My bio was always made you look. For the longest time, I thought it was witty, fun. It went with the type of Instagram I had. And I thought it was cocky and it was just me. But then I realized that I started to see a lot of people stealing my bio, obviously, because it's great. And like, I would get pissed every time I would see someone take my bio. I'm like, that was mine. I remember friends used to be like, can you take it out of your bio and can I use it for a bit? And I was like, fuck off, no. But like, people who didn't know me didn't have any
loyalty.
So I was just like, it's time to update it. And I thought, I love dirty martinis. And a lot of people say I have olive skin. So I was just like, olive skin due to too many dirty martinis. Like, or to too many martinis or something. And I was like, I sent it to a couple of friends. I have a group chat. You know, Veronica was like, I don't know, like something's off about it.
I was like, the olive skin part is like, it's the first time I'm ever eating on the podcast. What the fuck is this? I'm so sorry for the chewing ASMR. But I was like, something about the olive skin part is like weird. Like, it's like, are you even allowed to say that?
Like, am I getting canceled?
Like, are you allowed to say you have olive skin? Like, but also, why does it sound like you're saying I'm so pretty? Tell me, you know what I mean?
I was thinking, Veronica, this...
You know what I mean?
Veronica, I'm gonna put this dirty martini down because I just think
your olive skin is just oliving right now.
I think I just called myself gorgeous.
You actually just said I'm the most stunning girl, and you guys should all delete Instagram.
I basically just said I'm sorry that you guys burn, but like I just have that like European like golden like
perfect skin,
like skin complexion.
Yeah. So
anyway, so there was no lie there, basically. So I made that my bio, and yeah, I'm feeling like olive skin due to too many martinis.
Anyways, well, now that we got that out of the way.
Now that we got that out of the way, we need to talk about last week's episode. So I've been wanting this necklace that you guys are going to see only on video. That is 2 crosses that interloop. I've been asking Every Jewels for it for some time, and it finally came in, and it's probably my favorite piece of jewelry at the moment. The only thing with this is that I like my Jewish boys. And if I'm going around with not 1 Catholic cross, but 2, I'm going to have a hard time finding my husband. I think they're just going to walk the other way.
You should see if they can do like 2 Stars of David, maybe, like for the next necklace. Just reel them right in. You know what I mean?
Listen,
they're already looking in that region. So just throw in a little Star of David and they're going to go, this is the girl of my dreams. This one right here, I want her.
Or I just like fuck with them. I put that one and then I just like layer it because, layering is super nice.
And you could be like, look how we intertwine so well.
I'm like, listen, if I fall in love with an Italian, beautiful. If it's a Jewish boy, even better.
Get you a girl who can do both. And guys, if you also want to get the cross necklace or anything, I'm wearing the angel number necklace and the heart earrings. They have so much stuff on everyjewels.com, so go check them out and use our discount code ChemicalX at checkout and you'll receive 20% off your order. So start getting those boys.
I know that Veronica and I really talk about how the podcast definitely has got us in situations that have, not been the best for us. I think we both have our stories that we've never spoke about, and then others that we had to speak about, and then it's just like people are involved, people get mad at us, delete that part, we get blocked, they said something offensive, and it's like you love us because we're authentic, but like you have no idea what goes on behind the scenes.
Oh yeah, like there's definitely a price at the end of the day. Like if you say any story, someone's going down. And it's usually us, but sometimes there's other people going down with us. And that's the problem. It's like we don't live our life alone. You know what I mean? So it's like everyone that's involved in the story is coming straight down with us. And, it's fucked up a lot of things for us,
Which brings us to last episode. Okay, so last episode I had spoke about my 3 dates.
Right.
Okay? And my first date, my shitty date, I was still following this guy on Instagram. I thought like, I'm going to just wait a bit more because I'm that type of person. Like whenever I'm like done with someone, I'm like, my olive skin doesn't need you. You know what I mean? So I'm just like, I'm going to unfollow you.
I get the unfollow thing. I wish I could be like that. But for some reason, I hoard people as followers.
Yeah. I just think that like my mental health is super important. I'm going to go that route. Okay.
Sure. It's not because you don't want to be at 1,000.
It's a lot of things, but I think like, I'm always on Instagram and I think what I see is actually like super, like, I don't care to see that one person I met on a cruise when I was 5 and now I have to follow their whole life for the rest of my life. Like, see you later. It was nice knowing you. We were in each other's lives for what? A solid period? We're good. I'm
ride or die with my cruise people.
Yeah, you are, but it also shows with the amount of likes you get because people actually support you.
Well, you know what they say, support and you'll be supported back. I don't cancel anyone out too easily.
Anyways, I was just going to like wait and unfollow him, in a couple of weeks. I didn't want it to be obvious. But the problem is that this episode was coming out and I started to have anxiety because I'm like, I spoke so much shit about him. If he sees the thumbnail, he's going to click
He's going to know it's about him.
He's going to know it's about him. And I hate being that girl who hides someone from the story. I'm kind of like all in, like whatever it is, what it is. Yeah. Like, this is my life. You should have known. You should have behaved better if you didn't want to be ratted out on the podcast. But then I was like, Alel, like you really said some shit. Maybe in this situation, I'm like, I think I'm just going to hide him from the stories. And
wait, I just want to say, I actually find it crazy that people know we have a podcast and still choose to do the most crazy shit around that. You know that this is going to be publicized. They all
should be putting in the most work.
You should be getting a jet to fly us to the date. Are you crazy?
I mean, yeah.
You don't want to drive me there. What did you think would happen, buddy?
100%.
Anyways, go on. It's their fault, honestly.
Veronica, you nailed it. Where's our jet for that date? 1,000%.
Come on.
Like, we're not asking for much.
It's like going on fucking, I don't know, America's Next Top Model,
and
but
it's
not
always,
being a model.
And it's always the guys who like put in the littlest effort that are like, are you going to talk about me on the podcast? No.
Yeah.
Did you get me a jet? Oh. No. Okay. You're like, yeah.
No, I thought you meant like it's so shit. Like, yeah, I'm going to talk about you actually.
I mean, yeah, I guess it goes both ways. You either fuck up so bad you make it on, or you do so good and you make it on.
Yeah, the people in the middle, that's where you want to be. Not too good or not too bad.
Yeah.
You skis right by.
Yeah. Anyway, so I hid him from my story, okay? I was just like, it's unnecessary for him to see. It's immature of me, but I was just like, I'm hiding him from my story because I was trying to think of his heart, okay?
That's so sweet of you.
That's so sweet of me, okay? Until the Canadian had followed me the next day after the date. So I forgot about that.
Right.
And I posted the thumbnail and then he saw it. So he was like, he wrote, sorry, I'm getting a call. He basically wrote, "Oh my God, dead." So I was like, so now I'm like, I should have never blocked the guy.
Yeah.
Because now the Canadian, his friend, is going to obviously watch the episode. So he watches the episode and he wrote, "I'm dead." And then I was just like, oh, brother, hopefully he just like doesn't say anything. But then he doesn't know at this point that my guy has been blocked. So he automatically assumes because we follow each other, it's, public knowledge to him too,
Right.
So then I'm like, fuck my life. So then later on, I go to unhide him from the story because I'm like, it's going to get out. So like, I don't want to be that girl who's like hiding a story. And then I can't find him on Instagram. I can't find him. So I'm like, oh, wow, he blocked me. I'm like, oh shit, what the fuck happened? So he blocked me, and then I checked even on Chemical X, he blocked everything. So I'm like, he watched the episode. Fuck my life.
He probably was waiting for 12 on a Monday because he knew that's when our podcast
I
came
don't
out.
think he thought I would talk that bad about him. I don't know. I don't know if he... The thing is because you know how I say, like, I always make it good on a day. Like, you're never going to feel like how I actually felt because I'm very much like an Aquarius. You'll have the best date. I'll be the best. And then you'll never see me again.
Right.
Wow.
All because you're an Aquarius. That's so crazy. So only the people born in January and February can experience that quality.
Like, Alej, shut up. So completely blocked me, the podcast, everything. So then the Canadian writes to me later on. See, like, I want to talk about this because already now what I'm doing is another problem.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think people understand the issues that come with this because now it's like, if he were to watch this, then the Canadian didn't have his back.
Yeah.
And then it's like, bros before hoes. And now, like, so I'm doing this for the podcast, but it's also to make you guys understand what the fuck happens.
Yeah.
So let me go find him in my long list of dirty martinis.
Let me eat my olive while we're cutting this part out.
Okay, so he writes to me, at night, after I realized he was blocked. He blocked me. I just put him on blast in the group chat. I'm in with him. Honestly, someone needed to say something. I'm glad you did.
In the group chat too. I mean, yeah, you couldn't tell him off in private.
And I'm like, here I am blocking him from my stories. Meanwhile, the Canadian's blasting him in a group chat. Like, oh my God, why did I do this?
You know what I think? I think it's
they're
because,
not
like,
super close, and you could tell just by this.
But I think everyone takes things for themselves, right? Everything's personal for everyone. So I feel like for the Canadian, he took it as like, this is embarrassing for me.
But I also,
being an
like,
accomplice.
if you listen to the episode, I'm saying the Canadian was all...
No, I know, but I'm saying, like, as being his friend, you almost take it as like, now this branding is on me too, in a way, even though nobody knows who they are. It's just kind of that, like, you put me in this situation to even be spoken about.
I said, oh my God, no, why? I didn't want it to be a thing. I blocked him from the story. I'm so, like, I'm not even immature. Like, this is just like, you're 5 years old. He goes, no, fuck it. He needed to hear it, lol. That night was super embarrassing. Good on you for not wanting to create any drama and keeping it anonymous. He goes, it was hilarious, lol. Loved it. So I'm just like, So this is one of the situations where I was just like, I wanted to hide in a hole and just like not talk about it. And I know, like, even the other dates I went on, like, they watched it, and I was just like, it's one of those feelings where you're like, you could watch, but also like
100%,
you know.
But it's just like the reality is when you do anything actually in life, nobody knows your actual thought process. Like, you could go on a date and it's like you said, like, that person will go on with the knowledge that, like, look, it wasn't the greatest date, but you know, they don't know that you're going around saying this is the worst date of my life.
Exactly.
Because people don't have access to that information. But when you have a podcast and you're literally saying, this is what I was thinking here, this is my, like, raw, true thoughts.
It's like airing out your text with your friends. That's what it is.
No, it's actually like showing your nudes to the camera.
Honestly, I think nudes is, like, less bad than this. Because this is, like, I'm going to tell you what I was thinking at time 9:50 and then how it switched at 10:35 and where I was at and what did I think and who I was going on dates with. Like, even the other guy that things went well with, like, he watched it and I was just like, ah! Like,
it's just
which
always
is totally fine. Even if it's good stuff, even I said nothing bad about that date. Even if it's good stuff, I still feel like in the back of his head, he's like, I'm learning about this girl.
1,000,000%. It's just, it's too much information that they shouldn't have access to. And that's the issue. You know what I mean? Like, it's your text with your friends. It's even more because you're literally saying what you're thinking in your mind. And like, you're never as raw. No one's ever as raw as like that to even like your friends sometimes. And like, we're here saying it to everyone, even the person we were on a date with. So it's like,
it's fucked up. Yeah.
You know, and it's really hard for people to hear that sometimes. And that's what I'm saying. There's such a like a give and take when it comes to saying stories, because to make it good and to make it authentic and to make it actually what it was, you have to give all the details. But giving all the details, like, you're literally just throwing everyone under the bus, including yourself.
And also, let's just add in the fact that there's always 3 sides to a story: your side, their side, the truth. And it's like, when you're only hearing my side, maybe the guy felt like, you know, there was things that, I mean, come on, olive skin, no, perfect, no, beautiful, prettiest girl in the world. Didn't do anything wrong, honestly. Honestly, that date, fuck off. I did nothing wrong, but actually try and keep myself together with no dirty martinis. So yeah.
But yeah, no, it's so true that you say that, because I remember when I did my episode about my breakup, I was like, it's so even hard to explain this without feeling guilty for like not giving their side of the story light too. You know what I mean? Because it's like, I can make it seem one way and it's how it seems for me and it's my experience, but to another person it's totally different. So it's so hard. You can't trust the media. Can't even trust us.
We are the media.
We are the media.
Yeah, no, I used to get in fights with my ex-boyfriend all the time by saying shit that just was so authentic, but also like, Aled, do people need to hear that? I think now, like, I took a step back with that. Like, I definitely think my next relationship, holy shit, I'm going to be so much like you. Like, very particular about what I say. You know what? It's not really my character. I don't know.
I'm really like off and on with it. I just feel, it's like sometimes I want to talk about these stories. You want to share. It's so exciting. There's so many fun things that happen and you want to share it. But then I just remember like the vicious cycle that you get into. And I find, especially with a relationship, like for example, when I was with my ex-boyfriend, a lot of the stories I would talk about had to do with my ex-boyfriend. And then like a lot of my content banked on that. And it just gets tricky. And I'm like, you know what? I don't want to keep having to make content about my relationship because I feel like, especially at the end of my...
Because you're funny enough to have your own identity.
But it's just like at the end of my relationship, I had even spoken about how I felt like at a point, I spoke so much about it and I created such like a fantasy version of the relationship that I almost felt like I needed to stay in it because I was like, or else it breaks the fantasy.
I so agree with you. You struggled so much with that because you never, I think you spoke really highly about him. So then when you had to be like, whoa, why didn't things work out?
Yeah.
Versus me, I just prepped everybody. I was like, I hate this. And then when we broke up, everyone's like, wait, remember that person who commented?
Yeah, I've been waiting for this or something. Like,
everyone's shocked when Veronica's breakup ends. With mine, they're like, he wasn't good for you anyways.
But I just think like there's so much pressure, even just like posting on social media. I think too, it's very... I'm the type of person too where I struggle under pressure. And I feel like in my last relationship, because it was so public, I felt like that was almost what was keeping me there at one point. And I was like, you know what? I don't want to feel in that position again where I feel like I need to stick with something because it's so public. And I think it's different when you have a platform versus when you're just like on social media. Like, I think it's one thing when you just like have an Instagram for your friends and whatever. Like,
you know what? I think it's still relatable though.
Yeah, it's absolutely still relatable.
Like, people who don't even have a podcast know exactly what we're talking about.
And it's like sometimes you're just like, I don't want to put myself in the position where I now created this thing or built this brand and that would ever be a reason that I wouldn't walk away from something. Does that make sense?
And I think you struggled with that for
sure. For sure. And I think that's coming from my like trauma of the past where I'm like, I never want to...
You're like, put a ring on this fucking finger and then maybe I'll talk about you, babe.
No, it's not even that. I just think like, I don't want to go down the same path of making so much content about it and having so many people like every time I would run into someone, they would always be like, I love your relationship. You and your boyfriend are so good for each other.
I remember you used to have anxiety about that.
And like everyone would talk about that. So it's like, I just didn't want to repeat that again.
No, you were smart in the marketing strategy.
Yeah.
After people were saying that, you had to come on and be like, guys, like, just so you know, relationships aren't perfect. We fight. We're not perfect. I'm like, warm them up, Veronica.
Good.
What's coming? You're like, you're a bitch for saying that.
You gotta do what you gotta do. You know what I mean? It's all a marketing scheme at the end of the day. But I just think now I'm like in a different mindset where every time I want to post something or I want to share something, I'm like, for what though? You know, like I always kind of be
for
like
people's approval.
And I spoke about this in the past, but I will say it again because I think it's like important right now. Is I've always been somebody that like I really struggle with the fact that I actually care what people think. And I know everyone always says like, just don't care, like people's opinions don't matter, like you shouldn't care what people think. And I agree, like don't get me wrong, I absolutely agree. But the reality is like I do care, and I know that their opinion will make a difference on how I see things. And I just don't want that influence on me, because that's what happened in my last relationship.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, because I'm so attuned to people's opinions and I'm so out there, I'm like, for this one tiny thing, I don't want people's opinions for.
Your
you know what I
boyfriend's
mean?
gonna be like, this is a tiny thing in your life. Veronica, I totally get where you're coming from.
You know what I mean?
And it's so amazing that you're able to be aware that this is something that you struggle with and you just fixed it.
Yeah.
Like, imagine, guys, you know yourself best. So if you know how you are and you know you're not going to be able to handle it, then don't even put yourself in the situation. Easy fix. Done.
Yeah.
Next week she posts them.
Next week, I'm in a relationship. Here's my... But it's, you know what it is, though? It's not that my relationship is a secret. Because by any means, it's not a secret. Like, sometimes people will be like, oh, can I post this? Like, he's in it. I'm like, hey, relax. Like, it's not a fucking secret that, like, people see us out. Like, I have no problem being like, I'm in a relationship. It's just not something that I want to build content about or be so open about.
Because you know what it is? Once you start, you break the
seal.
You break the seal, and then it's like, well, she hasn't posted him in 6 months. She hasn't posted him in 8 months. And then it's like, well, then it starts like, babe, you haven't posted me. Like, what's going on? Like, I think where you're at, a nice, beautiful, close friends, works for you, works for everyone. Moving on from that, actually. So I actually always get DMs that are like hateful. We both get hateful DMs, and for 99
Thanks a lot. Yeah, people hate on me too. You're like, I actually, you know what? We both get haters.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, well, we know what goes on in my DMs.
We know. We find out that we're drug addicts overnight. We find out so much
wait,
shit.
can I read that comment? That's I think this is the funniest comment I ever received.
I think as someone who like is fucking scared of drugs, I think it was like, talk about not knowing.
That's why it was
Not
the
knowing
funniest
us.
comment.
And like,
So there's this guy that has an account, and I've blocked him before, and he made another account and like follows us everywhere. Like always the first comment on all my posts, just hating on me. And like he'll always like go like a different route, like, you know what I mean? And this time he went a hilarious route. And first comment, why don't you shut up? I'm like, you know what? I've been trying to shut up. It's been a while. I've been trying to shut up. Just doesn't work for me. I'm not going to lie.
and a dirty martini won't help.
Won't help. Only makes it worse. And then he wrote, their families are trying to get them help. They are extremely bad. Drugs and cocaine, the both of them. And guys, I don't know why this one killed me so much. And then in another comment, he wrote, you don't know Kendall Jenner. Don't compare yourself to class like Kendall Jenner. Both of yous are two gold diggers with shit French accents, and stay off the cocaine. First of all,
a
French accent.
He's not fully lying.
I mean, listen, I'm nothing compared to Kendall. I'll never take that away. But the cocaine that he's bringing in is like, I want to know
it's
where
also
this came
such a
from.
particular drug that I will stay away from for the rest of my life, forever.
Well, you spoke actually about your trauma, your fear.
I think I even cried on the podcast at a point.
Yeah.
I didn't even want to mention that because I don't want anyone going back at any point to try to find that.
They're going to have to sift through a lot of episodes. Sometimes, you know what kills me is when you're so not something that when someone calls you out for it, it's almost hilarious because you're like, I'm actually so open about how I don't do drugs that it's like for you to be like, and even like the families are trying to get them help. Like, it's like, where are you getting this information from?
The only thing is if I would show that to my parents, they'd probably be like,
oh,
finally a fan who knows what's up.
Why do I feel like if I'd show that to my dad, he'd be like, and that's why I'm sending you to rehab?
Well, we get everything. Fatherless. I'm like, no, my father's actually very present in my life. We have a great relationship. So, like, I don't know where this narrative is coming from, but, like,
I always get
I love my
single.
dad. I'm a daddy's girl. Like,
Sketch.
Every time I say that, I feel like,
Yeah, creepy. The internet made that word creepy. But we always get like single, must be single. That's why you're single. And like, I feel like such a bitch to be like, I'm in a relationship.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, it doesn't even matter.
and then it's also
they go,
like, do
"What,
you have
2
any
months?"
respect for me? Like, then if you say you're in a relationship, then it's like, yeah, no, I'm actually the only olive skinned gorgeous girl who's single.
It's somebody wrote me today, literally wrote back to a comment, that's why you'll die with a bunch of cats. I'm like, I don't even like cats.
Wait, another one we need to talk about. I sent it to you and I cried laughing. It's like, I don't know if it's because I was in a laughing mood, but I thought
Did
it
you
was
do shrooms?
It was hilarious. No.
Well, because we're such drug addicts, Alessia.
First of all, somebody wrote love is not a business, and I wanted to go at it and actually be like, love is kind of a business. But then I was like, easy. Like, meaning in like
there.
picking your partner.
Easy there, olive skin.
No, but it's anyway, I would have worded it in a way where it would have made sense. And I actually truly think the love is a business at the end of the day. Like, you're still gonna choose a partner that you like. Anyway, I'm not gonna get into it because somebody wrote on one of our things about how men should pay on a first date. Hold on. How men should pay on dates. I want to clarify that for my gold digging ass. Just say you want his money, child. And I was like, honestly, like, I want his money.
Now what?
No, like, when somebody wants to come at you and hurt you, I'm like, yeah, you know what? Right back to that. I want his money. Yeah. What are you going to say now, big guy? No answer. And I was like laughing so much. Just say you want his money. Okay. I want his money. And you know what the fucked up part about all this is? All the people writing in the comments are just broke ass guys who don't do anything with their life and are fucking like insecure, petty, and just mad. They're just mad. But I bet you if they had the opportunity to be a girl and just like decide on who they wanted to make their partner, like, why is it such a crazy thing for us to want to be with somebody who is goal-driven, ambitious, and successful?
Yeah.
Like, I just think, like, if you had the opportunity, I don't think there's as many sugar mamas out there as there are sugar babies.
I promise you guys would take it.
The thing is, it's like, it's so easy for you to hate, but it's like, think about the fact that you might actually be a girl and you have the opportunity to date who you want. Do you want to go and settle for the guy who has no money or the guy who's making a name for himself? It's like, it's almost like common sense when you put it like that. So that's why I was just like, I want his money. Like, straight up, like, I'm grinding. I want a guy who's grinding.
Absolutely.
Sorry, like.
And half the time, these guys actually just want to fuck you. It's crazy. It's honestly hilarious. Somebody commented on my pic. Wait, let me get it because I don't want to say it wrong. Say you're easy without saying you're easy. And I wrote back because, I love to. And I wrote, but you could still never hit. And then he wrote, like, baby, I'm easy, but where are you then? Why haven't we slept yet if I'm so fucking easy?
You don't even fall on the ladder of
like,
being easy.
But it's just like, okay, I'm so easy. Why haven't I slept with you?
Yeah.
So then he wrote back, mommy, question mark? And I'm just like, you know what? Like, all your haters
are your motivators.
Honestly, I think they just want to fuck you.
100%. It's like, might as well hate somebody you can never get than love somebody that will never date you.
Absolutely.
Or fuck you.
Or look at you.
Or look at you. So, basically, okay, I wanted to get to the Kyle story because Kyle has been a very big part of this week's episode because I ignore 99.9% of the messages I get, people calling me a bunch of shit that aren't true because you know what? It's like if you want to try and fight someone on something, I think if you're too defensive and you fight too many things off, it's because you're actually insecure and you don't believe that you're not those things.
Right.
So I normally just let it slide.
So I think I'm easy, right?
No, I said 99.9, Veronica. You can fall in that little speckle 1%. So every once in a while, I'm just like, you know what?
I'll fight you.
I like have so much anger built up to all the ones I haven't answered that one person gets it on steroids. Like, I'm like, you are going to regret the day you said this. Sometimes I go, I could have been a fucking lawyer when it comes to defending myself. Like, I really come factual. Like, I'm like, you know what? Fuck, I'm coming with the receipts. So basically, this guy, Kyle, writes this. He wrote to me, how much did you spend on your fake body so far? I never answered. I didn't even see it. Then I wrote something like, the podcast is taking a bit longer this week. Sorry, guys. He goes, this is not affecting anyone's day. Okay, whatever.
Why is that hilarious?
It's like a lot like... Just post the episode when it's up. Shut the fuck up.
Like when people write back like no one cares, I'm like, I know no one cares, but like I'm still gonna post it.
He writes on my picture, have you ever had a real job? And I'm like, that's it. Like, I'm done with this shit. So then he writes, have you ever had a real job? And then I wrote, yes, of course. Send me your CV, Kyle, so I can hook you up. Heart. Like smart ass Alessia just coming through. Then he writes to me on DM saying, yeah, I'm not an influencer. So some of us who have a real job don't know what a CV means. So I was just like, that's it, Kyle. Today is going to be the day you regret living. It's over. So then I basically went on Instagram and I was just like, this is the problem with people like Kyle's. And then every Kyle got put in the box. I was getting DMs from Kyle's being like, we're not all like this. And I'm like, shut up. You guys are all in this category at this point. Like, I'm not starting to make exceptions. Every Kyle, go fuck yourself, okay? I was basically just saying how the thing is it came across very like, not privileged, but just like, I didn't mean to come off and like attack people who work a 9-to-5 job, but I feel like he's just going at the angle of like, I have a CV, I work hard, I work a 9-to-5 job. And it's like absolutely cool, like amazing. Didn't work for us, but worked for so many other people. And like for any business, you need to have people that are willing to work 9-to-5. So it just, life wouldn't work if everyone just went off and did their own business.
Absolutely.
Like realistically. So like we appreciate those people. We love them. I have nothing against them. I worked a 9-to-5 job like literally my entire life. So like I'm not shaming anyone, but I was just like, that is the problem with people like Kyle. They feel like they can talk about people's job when they have no idea what it entails. And that's what pissed me off the most. It's like, just because we see here influencer, like there's so many influencers who work more and harder than people who work 9-to-5 jobs. And the thing with influencer, being an influencer or doing anything out there is like, sometimes you're literally struggling for your next contract. You don't know where your next dollar is coming from. It's a lot more of a risky business to be in. So I just got so angry. I was like, let's stop talking about people that we have no idea what their job entails. And like, it's always people like Kyle who don't know. Even the influencer thing, it's like a jealousy thing. Like, oh, I bet you're an influencer. I bet you wish you could be an influencer. Absolutely. And it's like anyone could do anything they want to do, and you're bitter at something that like you chose.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
It's the same thing with you saying like, oh, guys would jump at the opportunity to date someone who had money or get a date paid for them. It's the same thing. It's like you're talking shit right now because you can't have that. But if this guy could, let's say, be an influencer, I'm sure he'd be jumping at the opportunity.
Yeah,
everybody
and like
would.
truth is like a 9-to-5, not that it's a safe bet, but like there's so many other people that are grinding and working on their future and their future projects that are having them up till like I'm up sometimes till 3 a.m. in the morning, 4 a.m. in the morning, like working on my shit. And it's like no one ever knows that. I don't care. I don't feel like I need to like tell people I'm working hard. I know I am. And like that's all that matters. But when it's fucking people like Kyle who work 9-to-5 and then go home and then like live a life where it's just like relaxing, they get to do whatever they want, they get to close off, amazing. But like don't fucking come at the people that are grinding, you know? Like so I just got like angry at that. And then I got people who were like, why are you even entertaining this? Like, you're better than this. And it's like, bro, the one time I want to fucking come and say something for all the people who are like, you know, who are trying to do something and make a name for themselves, like, don't even give me attitude there too now. Like, I was just like, we all know when it comes to dicks, there's all different shapes and sizes. The one thing in life that men cannot control, which is probably the only thing, I think height and dick size are the two things that are, you know, I mean, I'm sure height they're going to start fixing somehow at some point.
I heard you can actually you can get an implant to get like 4 inches taller or something.
What about for your dick? Can you make your dick bigger? No, you cannot make your dick bigger, but I'll tell you what you can do in order for your dick to look bigger. Head on to Manscaped and use the Lawnmower 4.0 to trim those balls down there so that, you know, your girl who's going down or your guy, whoever's going down there, is just getting the illusion that your dick is bigger. And we'll never say no to that.
Absolutely. And while you're there, you can also get some ball deodorant, some ball toner, pretty much anything you need to have your dick looking bigger, smoother, softer, sexier. You know what I mean? And also, while you're there, use our discount code ChemicalX at checkout and you'll receive 20% off your entire order and free shipping. So head on over manscaped.com. Honestly, that mindset really makes me mad. It's like we always put this pressure on people to like take the abuse, but don't ever say something about it, because it's like if you mention it or you acknowledge it, then it's your fault now because you said it and now you're bringing it on to yourself. But it's like, no, I'm sorry. Like, why is it that now people could just talk shit and not get hit? You know what I mean?
That's exactly why
I was like... And if you hit them, it's like, oh, now it's your fault. Like, now it's your fault for reacting. Now it's your fault for even caring. Why are you giving them the time of day? It's like, no, I'm going to call him out because he deserves to be called out.
And by doing that, it wasn't about Kyle. It was about the next time you're going to fucking come at me, you might actually think about what you're saying before you say it, because there is a chance that I will put you on blast. And that's what I wanted people to know. It's like, you're not safe, and maybe I'll see your message and maybe I'll attack you. So maybe you'll think the next time you send it. It's the same thing when a fucking guy wants to just throw in a dick pic. It's like, no, I will send it to your mother and your fucking sister.
Yeah.
Think about what you're fucking sending before you send it.
Absolutely.
So that was kind of the energy with that. So I'm making all these jokes about Kyle, and I'm like, Kyle is going to be incorporated into my podcast. Kyle will be that guy. You know what I mean? That's just like a hater. Kyle is our hater. And then a bit after, I don't even know how this comes about, but basically the girlfriend messages me, and the girlfriend writes, "Hi, I'm Kyle's girlfriend. Can you please DM me anything else he sent you?" And then I just felt like he deserved everything until I saw that message of the girlfriend. Then my heart was bleeding. I'm like, I'm a bully, Alessia. What you did is not right. Like, I can just imagine being her in the position of just like, this is worse than getting cheated on. Like, don't even fuck with me. Like, if your man is going out there bitter, writing to girls, like, I would break up with my man in a second. Like, you're fucking embarrassing. What are you doing? What's going on in your life that you're so angry at these girls that you have no idea who they are? Like, he has a girlfriend, and like, the girlfriend is now seeing that he's writing these things to me.
I would rather my boyfriend send literally a dick pic or literally a fire emoji back to a girl's story than to find out that he's writing hate messages to a girl. Hold on,
let's just top this off. I rather my man tells this girl that he's always wanted to be with her, and he's gonna leave me for her because that's the love of his life,
than to find out that he's literally...
Hold on, topic, go. Make it worse.
I honestly just rather you sleep with another girl. But it's true. It's actually, because you know what? To find out that your man is a hater in another girl's DMs, by the way, I would lose my fucking mind. I could never come back from that. That's... No. Actually, you know what's the most disgusting thing in the world?
What?
Have you ever... Okay, toxic, when you go through your boyfriend's phone, whatever. Have you ever seen, like, messages from before, like, you existed? Like their DMs to girls and like their pickup lines. Like I've seen that like 1 or 2 times. Like my ex-boyfriend when he like had DM'd
Veronica's
girls to,
so wholesome. She's like,
as a pickup line.
What about when you're dating somebody? How about that? Let's make it times 2.
But I'm saying like when they were like single and like writing to girls to DM them.
You're disgusted. You're like, who are you?
Like, you thought this was gonna work? Yeah. You thought that pickup line was gonna get her? You don't understand. That's the biggest ick for me, is seeing your boyfriend's pickup lines with other girls. Like,
yeah,
no.
You almost want to tell them off, and you're like, I can't even look at you.
No game.
I can't even look at you. I don't know who you are. I don't know why I'm dating you. Like,
ew. How did you even get me? You got me with that game? Yeah. What are you, crazy?
I'm gonna have to reevaluate this entire relationship.
Oh my god, I settled for you. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Yuck.
Yeah.
Like
100%. So basically the girlfriend writes to me, and then and then people, guys, I've never got such interaction with this. Like people were just like, so then I posted, oh no, Kyle. I posted the girlfriend's reaction. So then I think people, what they did is they went on Kyle's account, and then from Kyle's account, they saw that she had commented. So they had figured out that was the girlfriend. I didn't even go through that, but people online are fucking sharks. And they found the girlfriend, and then they started bullying the girlfriend. And then that's where I was like, okay, I draw the line here. Like, Kyle deserves the disrespect, but not the girlfriend. I started feeling really bad. And then all people were doing in my DMs was like, let me know what's going on. What's happening with Kyle's girlfriend? This and that. I was just like, oh my God, like, this is bad.
But did you send the girlfriend?
I felt bad afterwards. But then, is that where you're getting at?
No, I was going to say, did you send the girlfriend his other messages?
Yeah.
Okay.
For sure. I'm a girl's girl. 100% I sent them. But then I said, she said, by the way, like, I'm totally on your side. Like, please, like, and if you feel if you actually feel sorry, then, like, stop posting. And I was like, you're totally right. And I stopped. Mm-hmm. But I did write one thing to her that was probably for my benefit only, and actually for our entertainment. I was like, hey, like, would you want to get on speakerphone and talk about us on the podcast? Did I tell you this?
Oh yeah, I forgot that you told me this.
She never answered, obviously. She's like, let me deal with this in private. I gotta whip my...
I'm going through a breakup.
I need to whip my boyfriend's ass. You think I want to start saying, yeah, my boyfriend's a fucking loser? She's already so embarrassed. What do you think she wants to come on fucking on the podcast and just be like, yeah, let's talk about why my boyfriend's a loser and I'm gonna end up staying with him? Like, no, she doesn't want to.
Doesn't hurt to try.
Anyway,
You always gotta think about the business first.
I always think of you guys. So anyway... So she's not available tonight.
She couldn't make it, honestly.
But I'll give you a rerun if at any point she wants to come on.
Well, speaking of that topic, honestly, I had once said a story about one of my exes, and
yeah.
And you know the thing about when you have a podcast and you release it, you know, sometimes we film like 2 weeks in advance, okay? So like the anxiety is never when we film it. After we film it, we're good, we're chilling.
Always.
It's always like at like 11:58 on a Monday that I start like getting anxiety because I'm like, this could go one of two ways. I could not hear a peep from any of these people. Nobody cares. Nobody even watched it. Or I'm getting a call in about 3 to 4 hours. And this was one of those episodes that I got a call 3 to 4 hours later.
Let us just add that it's also happened with guests on the podcast too. Now we have like a whole contract because of shit that's fucking happened. So
it's very scary. It's very stress inducing.
Also, like, we're editing everything. Like, once we put it out, like, don't fucking bother us. Like, we did all the work. Like, don't start saying delete episode.
Yeah, I did an episode and I spoke about a story, and
you thought because it was an XX, you were safe.
Well, I just thought, like, it didn't really matter, you know? Because the thing is, I know sometimes when I'm getting a call, and, like, sometimes I misjudge it, you know what I mean? Like, someone's like, oh, it's chill, it's easy. But, like, I don't know why this time I didn't really think that I was going to get the call, you know? I got the call. So, like, I'm chilling, I'm having a good day, I'm like, whatever, it's not that bad. And then I see my phone ringing, and I'm like, oh, God. I didn't even know I had your number.
This was your XX.
Yeah. Say it again so that everybody knows exactly who it was.
For the people in the back.
So that he could tell me, remove this one too. So I get a call from him and it starts off nice. Like, look, like my friend sent me. But you know
what's up.
And you know what it is? It's never them. It's always like my friend sent me the episode. You know what I mean? Like, bro, stop sending the fucking episode to the people that shouldn't be hearing it, okay?
Like, if you're watching it, be lucky and grateful you got it. Stop sending it. But also share our stuff. I don't know how that works.
Share, but not to the people that we're talking about. Like, perfect. The Canadian, learn here. Learn a bit.
Yeah. Stop. We like him. Don't be mean.
I know, but don't. Come on. So anyway, so I get a call and he's like, yeah, like, it starts off chill, you know? Like, I'm like, okay, maybe it's like just like a... And he's like, look, I didn't know that you were going to talk about this on the podcast. And I'm like, listen. I'm like, look, like... I didn't think it was bad.
Like, and at this point, like, both of our roles are different. Like, I do the editing, right? So Veronica is probably at this point, like, she hasn't went through the clips that made the trailer, so she's not exactly sure. You're not, like, exactly sure what fully you said. You have an idea of what you said 2 weeks ago, but then you gotta go back into it.
But I knew that nothing I said was bad. I was like, I don't understand. Like, I actually thought it was good what I said.
That's the problem in your eyes.
So then he starts going, well, listen, it's because, like, I'm with someone new now. And I'm like, oh, God, here we go. So basically, I was under the impression that he was single. So I'm saying these stories like nobody cares, right? Like, you're single.
Well, that's because that's what he told you.
So I'm under the impression that he's single. So I'm saying shit, like, not thinking anything of it. Obviously, I'm like, this is a fine episode. But then I get the call, like, listen, like, I'm in a relationship, so you're going to have to remove this time to this time, this time to this time. And I was like, and I never remove shit. But I'm like, sometimes you're just like, I don't know why sometimes you just like, I know that you don't matter in my life at all. No offense. But, like, you don't have a place in my life. So there's no reason why I can't just fuck you over and be like, fuck off. Like, I'm not doing it. But sometimes you're just like, do I need to carry this extra burden of this extra beef of, like, fucking over? Like, now what? I have to feel that I ruined your relationship? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So I was like, you know what? Like,
yeah, he went in a great angle.
like, I was like, listen, I'll remove it. I personally don't think it was bad, but like, if it makes you feel better, but it's like, don't start adding in times. You get one removal. That's it.
You get one slot.
You literally get one slot, and don't ever call me again. So don't think you can call me for this one. But it's just like sometimes
you get a call on Monday.
Oh my God. But it's like sometimes you think you slide by, and there's so many things that I've said and I've been so nervous about that I was like, oh my God, like, I don't know, like, I feel like I'm gonna get told off, and like, nothing happens. Yeah. I'm like, okay, sweet.
Veronica, placement is everything.
And then out of nowhere, even this happened to me again with another ex. Out of nowhere, I'm skeezing by. I'm saying stories, all good. I'm ripping them left and right. Suddenly, one episode, one podcast didn't slide well. I got the call. I'm like, oh God. And those are the worst calls too, because you have to be like, I know I said what I said, but like, that's the nature of the and it's so hard to explain to people, like, how did you want me to say the story? You know what I mean? Like, what did you want me, like, what do you want me to sit here and say if I can't talk about my life? I feel the worst for people that, when it's stories of people that I knew before the podcast, because I feel like now, it's almost like it's your fault too if you do. Like, you know what you're signing up for.
Like, you knew what you signed up for.
You knew what you signed up for. But I feel bad when it's people that, like, didn't know I was ever going to have a podcast, or didn't know these stories would ever get out there to that extent, that I have a little bit more, like, empathy for, that I'm like, okay, like, you kind of didn't sign up for this, so, like, I probably shouldn't be saying this stuff, you know?
But also, like, grow up, have a sense of humor, let it slide. Nobody mentioned your name. Nobody knows it's you. You talk about 45 exes. Like, who's to say they know which one it is?
Yeah, 45 exes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
though?
absolutely.
And you're also very politically correct on how you say things. So, like, you don't really
I'm strategic.
You're very strategic.
I'm absolutely strategic. But it's just, the thing is, when you talk about somebody, they feel like everyone knows it's about them, even though, like, no one actually does know it's about them.
Yeah.
So it's tough. It's tricky. But it's just so hard to come here and say stories. And there's the amount of times that, like, people will have been like, don't say this story because it involves me. And I'm like, but it's the best story. Like, I have to say this.
Guys, we have so many stories that, like, I wish we could say.
Like,
maybe one day when we're, like, honestly, we're so fucking rich that we go, send the lawyers over. Yeah. It's fine. We'll just pay them off.
Call me with the lawyer's number.
The story is too fucking good for me to, like.
Yeah. But you know something crazy, though, I will say, with my new relationship, it's been tricky with the podcast, obviously, with the not posting and all this. And something that he always used to say in the beginning was like, you know, like, I feel like I know you, and like, we go on these dates and we have like a great time. And then, like, I watch your podcast and I feel like it's like a totally different person. And he's like, don't get me wrong, like, you're the same. It's just like, you have this, the way you talk and the things you say are so different from like the person that I feel like I know. And he was like, for the longest time, like, I couldn't really believe that we were dating in a way, because he was like, it almost felt like you had this like double life of like, you come on and you act one way and you're like talking like you're single and you're like saying all this stuff, and then like with me you're so different. And I'm like, that it's really what it is.
Showtime, baby.
But that's really what it is, because it's the same thing with you on dates. It's like, we go on dates and obviously like we're ourselves and we're like a different like, obviously it's all just different versions of yourself. But me on a date, like, I'm not gonna go on and be the farmer that I am when I come here, you know what I mean? And like talking the way that I'm talking. So I can imagine that someone from the outside who like knows you in a certain light and then sees you in another light, it must be so difficult to like kind of put those two people together, especially when you're like not addressing that part of your life at all. Like, you're not talking about the relationship, you're not talking about the date. So it just feels like, wait, is this even happening? You know?
I think it works two ways.
Yeah.
I think a lot of the times people want to go on dates with you. Like, that's been my experience, because like, let's say I meet somebody on Raya or whatever. A lot of the times you're just a picture. Then it's like, how does she look in person? Who is she?
What's her personality?
What's her personality? And then I think like almost 99.9% of the time, it's like, I know they're digging into my podcast. And then for some fucking reason, I don't know why, they're like, this girl's a cool girl. Like, I want to get to know her. So like, I think for when you're going on dates, a lot of the times women were scared because we're like, who is this guy? Like, but then for me, I feel like people are so like, open up, come. So it's like, for that, because they feel like they know this person who's, you know, not fully me. I mean, it's me. It's a version of myself, but it's also like, I don't want to say the best version.
With your olive skin.
And my gorgeous hair. But it's just a different person. And I know, like, I've went on dates and they were like, either like, okay, you match it, like 100%, like, you're so cool, you're chill. Like, I never really got like it's never been like a bad thing, but I will say I've been on dates also where it's like I've like ish known them. Like I've known them through like the scene, and then like I go on a date with them, and then it's like they feel like they know you because they've really been invested in like kind of like, you know, your story. I went on a date when I was in Miami. This is like months ago. I'll be a little bit more reserved, or like I'm not like the loudest in the room at the beginning. Give me a couple of olive skin dirty martinis, and then loudest in the room. But I was just more like quiet, and then it's like the person was having such a hard time being like, well, you're one way on your podcast, like what's wrong, is everything okay? And it's like whenever somebody asks you like what's wrong, is everything okay, like bro, I'm fine, I'm completely fine, like this is me, like get to know me, chill, whoa, relax. And like it was really hard because he had like this idea of me, and then like the me in person that's like a little more reserved, or like, you know, like I'm not drinking as much, or I'm just like chill in my zone, like, and that was hard because it's like I'm actually like everything's fine, like no, everything's perfectly fine, like it's good, and it's like, well, no, that's not who you are, and it's like, babe, that's one version of me.
And I think I always say that like I really feel the pressure when like I meet somebody in real life who watches the podcast to like live up to the standard that I feel like, you know me. Jokes. You try to be the funniest girl in a 1-second conversation because you're like, I feel like if I don't pull through right now, you're gonna think like I'm fake or something. But the reality is like, imagine the way you are with like your closest friend when you guys are having a sleepover and you're just chatting, you're just gossiping, you guys are like crazy, you're being funny, whatever. That's what it is, but filmed for us, right?
Yeah.
So it's like not everybody gets to experience that side of me. Not everybody, like there's a lot of shit that I say because it's for fucks, because I'm with my girl, we're having a sleepover. That's the podcast, right? So it's like a lot of the shit that I don't even truly believe it, or I don't even care that strongly about it. It's just because we're here, it's just because we're having fun. So like outside of this realm, I'm like also not a different person, but it's like a different version. The same way when you're with your girls and you're having a sleepover, you'll be one way, but you'll turn around and be completely a different side of yourself. And I think like it's so hard for people to understand that, because then they think like, oh, you're not the same as you are on the podcast, or like you're different, you're more quiet, what's wrong? Like you're not as funny in person. And it's just like, you feel this pressure to still be that same person. To live up
to like who you are on the show. So how has your man kind of adapted to, you know, you, like the version of you on the show versus the you that's like obviously getting to know him? Because obviously at the beginning he's like watching the episodes. He's like, okay, so this is what she likes sexually. Like it's kind of like a guideline, right?
I don't think you ever get used to it, I think. But I will say.
No, you definitely get used to it.
Yes, but like, let me explain. So I think at the beginning it's obviously different because they don't really know you yet, so they're still trying to get to know you, and it's like conflicting. So like you don't really know my full personality. I'm still in like my perfect little princess stage where you're like, how can this girl be so ratchet as soon as a mic is out, you know? But I think the good thing is like when he met me, he obviously knew the podcast. He like watched the podcast. Like I think that was good too, because it wasn't like me dropping a bomb of like, here's my podcast. Like I'm actually ratchet. But I think like over time, he just got to see more like the well-rounded version of myself and see how like those little parts of me still do exist. Yeah. But then there's times too where like I'll say stories or like I'll talk about things, and it's hard not to take it personally. Like, for example, like we did like our whole like X episode, right? And he was like after like, oh my God, like I feel so insecure after this episode. Like, because in his mind, he's like, I don't want to do, like hearing me talk about how like I get the X so easily and this bothers me. Like, for any guy, but especially as my boyfriend.
You're like, I literally have to gaslight myself to not look at something that icks so that I could still be attracted and want them.
And it's like, I'm saying all this stuff, but the reality is like, your boyfriend should never know these things. It's information that like people should never know, like your dates. Those people should never know that information, right? It's like personal in your mind information. So like when someone knows the inner workings of your mind, it's almost like knowing too much. So for him, he's like, well, like, whoa, like, are you like that way? And I'm like, no. And it's like so hard to explain after. Like, it's a mess, I swear it's not about you. Like, and that's the really challenging thing, is like being yourself, saying what you're thinking, but also like people taking it the wrong way.
Veronica, what you said is so fucking, it's so true. And I think like even going forward in my next relationship, the man has to be so secure in himself, because they have to understand that like there's going to be shit that I'm going to say that's just like nuts, you know? And it's like, you have to be okay with it. You have to understand the vision. Not that I'm going to say anything that's fake, because everything we say is 100% things that happen to us. But like, it's hard.
It's really hard.
You could still be a secure guy and be like, yo, what the fuck?
Absolutely. And like, even in my past relationship, like my ex-boyfriend was super supportive of the podcast, never would say a word, but there would still be like every once in a while, and he was hard to piss off. Like there would be every once in a while that he'd be like, okay, listen, like you could have done without saying that story, you know? And like, I get it. 100% I get it. But I just think also at the beginning of my relationship, I was like, look, like, you know, I have a podcast. You know, this is like what I talk about. Like I often talk about dating. I often talk about like hookups or like boys or whatever.
Yeah.
Boys. Well, I sound 6. I was just like, look,
you
know,
are.
I'm 6 years old. Well, you were clearly born in 1971. 12 years ago, I had Instagram. But I was like, look, this is my podcast. You know what goes on. You have every right to not want to be a part of it. And I have no problem if you would say, I don't want this in my life, because I get it. Like,
but don't you
no
think
one's,
yeah.
no, I'm not forcing you to be here, but like, just know that if you're accepting this, you have to like be okay with it. And I was like, I'm just letting you know, like, I'm going to continue to talk as if I'm single, and I'm not going to mention you for X, Y, and Z reason, like for all the reasons that we just spoke about, because I didn't want to go again, especially in the dating stage. I was like, I don't want to say anything before this even is anything, you know?
Yeah.
And I was like, look, I'm going to continue to talk as if I'm single as fuck. And like, I know it's hard to hear that, but like, you're just going to have to go with it. And like, are you cool with that? And he was just like, I guess.
He's like, I have no choice.
I mean,
I think I get a lot. I get really, 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 really insecure when like I'll start talking to someone and then they go on my podcast. Mm-hmm. I'll get really insecure, like for sure. Like when people are like, because like you said, it's the inside of your mind. So like when you're getting to know someone, you're not private, right? You say shit about anything. So it's like you feel like the guy will not be interested in you because they'll hear anything that might be like different than what they think, and then be like, "Ma, fuck this girl."
Absolutely.
So like for the most part, it's been super positive, and like people feel like, you know, it's my resume, like beautiful. Yeah. Like I know what's up, and they're interested. But like I always get that pit in my stomach when, let's say, like I'll meet someone from Raya or whatever, then they follow me on Instagram. I'm like, oh my god, they just entered in my brain.
Yeah.
And then I start like panicking. I start sweating every time, Veronica. Like
100%.
Every time. I remember even when we started the podcast at the beginning, I would hide people from when I would post episodes on Monday because I was just like, don't watch. Now I'm completely different, but I still think it creeps up on me a little bit, and I'm like, I get insecure at times, and I'm like, oh, like I don't really need you to follow me on Instagram yet. Get to know me first before you like have a perception of me that you might actually like think that's not me, even though I am being myself. It's one version of myself. So I might have said something that just like, you know, worked at the time. And also we're always growing. Things I said a year ago, I don't always agree with a year later. So there's that too. And it's like, there's so many cringe things about a podcast. So I think this is when we say we're stopping.
Wait, are we quitting?
We've done the worst. I mean,
honestly, I watched Madison Beer's podcast on Call Her Daddy. Mm-hmm. And I really resonated with it. Like everything she was saying, I thought was really good. She was talking about people hating on her and like having to be one way and having to like portray something.
Yeah.
And like when I was listening to it, I was like, wow, like I actually like really resonate with this. And like it's so true. You know, like everyone expects all this. And like I know that people are going to listen to this. And I know that people are going to be like, well, you shouldn't have a podcast then if you're going to complain about it. And it's like, I hear you and I get it. But it's just, I think that you're allowed to do things and still like be not okay with the cons that come with it, and still be allowed to like complain about it and still be allowed to like express it.
Well, it's like an actor and actress. They want, that's their living. That's what they want to do. They didn't ask for the whole fucking fame that came with it sometimes. Like they just want to go get a coffee.
Absolutely.
It doesn't mean just because like that's what you signed up for that like you're up against everything and you want everything.
Yeah.
No.
And like I think that's what she was talking about a lot in the podcast, is she was just saying how like, you know, everybody says like, well, you chose this life and like this is the territory that comes in it, and they'd be like, if you can't handle it, like then it's not meant for you. And I'm like, you know what, I actually don't agree with that. Like I don't agree that we have to take abuse or take like, you know, especially when it comes to haters. Like I really like, how about just not be a hater? Like why don't we just teach people to not be haters rather than like teach people to be tougher and to just take it? It's like, sure, like I could take all the hate comments in the world, but at some point it's going to affect you, and it's not my fault. It's not my fault because I chose to have a job that involves a lot of people and involves the public. It doesn't mean that I deserve to get death threats or to get shit on or to be told that I'm ugly. Like those things, it's I don't know why we came to the point where it's like, oh, well, you deserve it if you're doing that, you know? And I just find that so funny, you know?
Yeah, I think it's something we always know comes with the territory, but doesn't mean we're always ready for it or like certain parts of it.
I also just don't think it means it's okay just because it comes with the territory.
It's absolutely not.
Yeah.
But
it's not cool that you're a hater.
We've come to a point where it's like, well, you gotta have thick skin if you put yourself out there. Like if you decide to be on social media, like, sorry, you signed up for it. And it's like, it's completely false and it's not true. But at the end of the day, that's like, I don't want to be, You know what? You know what? It's so funny because Veronica and I are two different personalities. We agree on a lot. Our work ethic together is fire. But like, for sure, like we'll be on live and like people will be saying shit and you'll be like, I'm blocking them. And it's like, my character is more like, no, hater is still a view. Like, let's not delete it. Let's ignore it. But it's like, I also have to take into account, like, if this is affecting your mental health, then absolutely, like, delete the message. We can't keep it there, you know? So it's like, as much as like we are two different people, it's like you have to do what works for you. And it's like if something hurts you or if something is like not chill or not nice, like, sorry, it is what it is.
And I also think for some reason, hate is contagious, and that's why sometimes like I'll delete comments or I'll like block people.
If the train starts, then it'll
exactly. It's like if people are commenting on a video agreeing with you, all the people that are agreeing are gonna come, and like the hate comments are gonna get like lost in the sauce. But when someone's like hating on you and then it just keeps building and building and building, it's like now everyone feels open to hating because you're not that one hate comment in a million that you're gonna actually see. Now it's just like floodgates are open and everyone starts hating. And that's what I don't like, is when people feel like, oh, well, they hated too, like now I could throw in my insult too. And they just try to compete over who could be meaner, who could be like, who could say the thing that's more degrading. And I'm just like, you know what, like, no.
I think what's worked for me is just like agreeing with someone who's hating on me so that they literally do not know where to go from there. Like the one time I will respond, it's like the guy, he was like, just say you want money. I'm like, I want money. So it's like, what do you want to say next? And I think it affects you more because you look at the comments more, where I'm just like, I love it, but I don't look too into it. And I think that's something we spoke about in the past, that Veronica, stay off the comments, stop looking.
But I have no choice.
Like, you know what I mean? You do have a choice.
But I'm saying when I'm like, for example, like, because I'm posting all the videos and running the TikTok and Instagram, it's like I'm constantly on the account seeing, even like I don't even like, go through and
stop
read.
Yourself. Don't even go through and read. I know you go through and read.
Like I'm not going out of my way to read. It's just like at the end of the day, like to run a social media properly, it's like you need to know what's working and what's not working and what people are saying. So it's like I go and like I have to, no matter what, I have to see what they're saying.
The same boundary you have with like your boyfriend now and like not wanting to share it because you don't want people's opinions is kind of how you have to be with this, where it's like, it's hard though, because it is your job to like look like, hey, what's, because also our topics come from like people's comments. Like this whole episode is about people's comments. But I think you need to set a boundary with that. And we'll talk about it when we get off. But
actually, it came from Madison Spears' podcast too. She was saying how, like, you know, everybody says, like, don't read the comments, don't look. And she was like, you know what? Like, to everybody saying that, like, imagine if you knew that people were talking about you, like, on this, like, blog. Like, everyone was talking about you. Like, would you not go look at it? And it's like, if you think about it, it's like, yeah, go like, I want to know what people are saying about me. So it's like, it's so tough to be like, just don't look when you know everyone's talking about you. Like, you have this like compulsion to know what they're saying.
So I 100% hear you. And I feel like it can definitely affect me too, but different than you for sure. But also it's like the attacks come in different, like fatherless, or they're different from me to you for sure. Like 1000%.
Oh, I get fatherless.
What? You have 35 cats or something. I don't know.
I get fatherless all the time. Well, we get them.
We both get fatherless. But I think, I don't know. I really, it's about boundaries. And I feel like tricked my mind into being like, Alessia, like, these people don't know you, so don't let something affect you that is the light of something that they have no idea with. It's like, obviously, the people I care about their opinions are the people closest to me, the people who actually know me, know my heart, know who I am. So it's like, when you look at it like that, it's like, what are you going to cry and be sad about somebody who literally is hiding behind a screen, who will never do what you're doing and take it offensively when they don't even know you? It's like, I always say it, if you don't have my number, then your opinion to me means nothing. And it's actually true. When you look at it that way, it's like the fact that we're allowing these people to even get a thrill and make us sad when they don't even know who we are. They don't have our number. So it's like, if you have my number and you feel a certain way and you're mad about something, then yeah, that'll affect me. That hurts me.
Yeah.
But it's like, after time, it's like, well, you don't even know me.
Yeah.
And it's easier said than done, for sure. But I think when you try and trick your mind and like bring yourself back there, it's like, you don't have my number. You don't know me.
100%. I think where it is for me is I think a lot of people have the barrier of not having their personality out there. And I think why it hurts me is because we're so real and it's really us and we're not making like playing a front. I think that's why it's more hurtful, because it's like, if you attack me, like you're truly attacking me, and it's like really me. Whereas like sometimes when I'm doing something or it's like just a picture of people hate on me, like I don't care, because I'm like, you don't know me. But when it's the podcast, I find it's an
opinion you really agree with.
Yeah, and it's so much more personal because it really is me.
Yeah.
So I'm like, that's why I find when it comes to like podcasting, why it's more hurtful, because I feel like you're actually personally attacking me.
Yeah.
Because it is really me. Whereas like if I was in a movie or if it was a picture of me.
It's you, but it's also a slimmed down 30-second version of a conversation that's
Absolutely.
1 hour.
Absolutely.
Okay, so do that. Trick your mind.
But I know-
like
but I know
boundaries.
that.
Like, they haven't watched the full thing. If they watched the full thing, they'd fall in love with me. Gaslight yourself. That's it.
But I'm saying, I know that. I'm just saying like the difference is
Yeah.
like, for me, when somebody would just attack a picture or like something, I'm actually so like, doesn't bother me. But as soon as when it's like, feels more personal, that's where I'm like, oh my God, they don't agree with me, like da-da-da, because it's like, it actually feels like you personally know me and you're personally disagreeing with me, you know?
It's like, watch the entire episode, feel a certain way, and then let's talk about it. Obviously, guys, it's social media. We're going to put the trailer that's the most risque, the one that's going to be a little more like controversial. That's why I trip so much and I get insecure when like somebody follows me and then watches my podcast, watches like a clip, a snippet. I'm like, I don't know what's worse, the fact that you're just watching a snippet. Maybe just watch the entire thing, because
absolutely just watch the entire thing.
You know what I mean? Because then it's like you have a version of me that's probably clipped, skewed, and that's not fully me. So go watch the full episode, but also don't watch the episode. Don't follow me on
just
Instagram.
block me.
Actually, just like fucking leave me alone.
100%.
Leave me alone.
Actually, just don't come near me, because I'll talk shit about you on my podcast.
I hope this gives people just a little bit more of an insight of how, you know, we feel, how we deal with things, why we think about the conversations we do have on the podcast, and why we're amazing.
Why you have perfect olive skin. Why you're literally
okay,
glowing.
wait. Should I go back to Made You Look? Also, like, Alesh, shut up. What, it's 6 months you like dirty martinis?
Yeah.
We're not even going to get into that.
We won't. I'll let it slide. Made You Look was always a classic.
But also, like, grow up. No, you're not 23 anymore. You're apparently 45.
You're actually 69. Yeah.
Yeah,
Wait, do you want to kiss?
I mean, you have to choose a sexy number. We don't like 69 over here, so I don't know why.
Oh yeah, we know
that.
on this podcast. I can't have anything. I can't even flirt with a guy and say, yeah, I love 69, because on my podcast I say no 69.
Honestly,
no secrets.
you tighten everything with that last comment.
There's no secrets. You can't schmooze.
We
when you have
can't
a
even
podcast.
fucking lie if we wanted to.
I can't, because you could just be like, episode 110 at minute 226.
And I also think it's funny when guys are like, obviously before they go on a date with you, they probably snoop through a couple of episodes, or like, okay, maybe they just watched the trailers. But
well, my
it's like-
boyfriend said he watched. He was like, well, I had to know what was like going on here, and I'm like, honestly, fuck off.
You're like, don't talk to me.
Don't talk to me. Also, what episode did you watch?
You
That's
know,
another
okay, guys,
thing.
for anyone who doesn't have a podcast, which is probably 99.99999% of people, just think of it as like you're going out with your friends, you get blackout wasted, okay? The next day, when your friends are explaining the stories, do you ever just listen, or do you say, babe, or
Don't-
like, I can't even believe you're doing this to me.
Like, shut up. Don't
Shut
tell me
up.
what I did.
Don't tell me what I did. Let's not talk about it. Let's move on. I don't remember. It's embarrassing. Enough. That's how we feel about the podcast. Like, after it's done, it's like, see ya.
Yeah, I'm worrying about next Monday now. Like,
Like, bye.
Literally, guys, I post a flyer, and for 24 hours, I close my eyes, and then once we're done in 24 hours, I'm like, can't remember. Can't remember what
Until you're
happened.
making trailers.
Absolutely. Then I kill myself all over again. It's crazy.
Anyway, I think we just spoke about for an hour and 15 minutes about why we hate our jobs and why.
Well, when the podcast ends, we'll just post this episode and say, like, here's the reason why. We filmed it in advance. Here's our breakup.
911, we need some help.
Anyways, guys, thank you so much for listening. We'll see you next week. As usual, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, leave us 5 stars on all the audio platforms.